The Lands of Ziruova, full expanded version. Chapter 1. The Mysterious Letter. In the heart of the bustling city of Leopris, where the cries of street vendors mixed with the blaring horns of cars, and the streets never slept, lived young Raoul Caver in a monotonous life. Every day was a repeat, waking up early, a quick cup of coffee, walking through narrow alleys to the old city library where he worked, and returning to his small apartment on the third floor of an old building overlooking a crowded street. Raoul was a quiet young man, preferring books over people, and he thought carefully before making any decision. His life was a sequence of dull routines, yet he always felt a hidden whisper. The world was bigger than these streets, and something awaited him, something he did not yet understand. One morning, as he emptied his old metal mailbox, he noticed an ancient envelope sealed with a stamp he had never seen before. The envelope was made of thick paper, decorated with strange engravings resembling symbols from a lost civilization. Written on it in mysterious handwriting was, "Raoul Caver, you are invited to explore the lands of Ziruova. Courage will reveal the truth." Raoul paused, staring at the lines, feeling a strange thrill in his chest. He carefully opened the envelope and found an incomplete map, painted in unusual colors, along with papers covered in indecipherable symbols and cryptic words. One sheet contained a sentence written in dark blue ink. "Time is limited. Follow the map and leave everything you know behind. The truth only reveals itself to those who dare to venture." Raoul's heart raced. He did not know why, but he felt this moment could change everything in his life. Sitting on the edge of his bed, he pondered. All he knew about life was limited, and everything he had done had been mere repetition. After hours of thinking, he decided to take the leap. He packed his bag carefully, some provisions, a small flashlight, a notebook, a pen, and a bottle of water. Before leaving, he looked at the city from his balcony, the noisy streets now meaningless to him, and felt for the first time a mix of fear and excitement in his chest. At sunset, Raoul began his journey into the unknown. The cold wind tousled his hair, and leaves danced on the ground, as if nature itself whispered, "You are about to enter another world." Along the way, he passed through dark alleys, empty squares, and even an old deserted street whose walls were covered with strange drawings of unknown origin. Everything seemed normal from afar, yet with each step, he noticed strange details, echoes of the past or perhaps visions from his imagination. At the end of the abandoned street, he found a large stone gate carved with symbols he could not understand. He faced two choices: return to his safe life or step forward. His heart thumped, but he drew a deep breath and entered. Once he stepped inside the gate, everything changed. The air became heavier, and the colors around him more vibrant and mysterious. Towering trees unlike any he had seen before, glowing mountains in the distance, and rivers reflecting the sky's colors in unbelievable ways made him feel as though he had entered another realm, a world beyond imagination. Then a mysterious figure emerged from the trees, Lena Valor. She wore a dark cloak and her eyes shimmered with wisdom and calm, unlike anything Raoul had ever seen. She approached him and spoke in a soft yet commanding voice. "Welcome to Ziruova, Raoul. Here, every step tests your spirit, and every choice reveals a part of your true self. Be prepared." Raoul felt awestruck, yet he knew this adventure would lead him to something far greater than anything he had ever experienced. He took a deep breath, resolved to move forward, unaware of what awaited him, but his heart was filled with courage for the first time. Chapter 2. Arrival in the Lands of Ziruova. The next day, Raoul began his journey deeper into the strange lands, guided by Lena. The path was not easy. The terrain twisted and turned through high hills, and the colors around him seemed alive. The massive trees bent and twisted, their leaves glowing in green and blue, and on some trees, symbols appeared that resembled those on the envelope. The air carried a strange fragrance, a mixture of wildflowers and damp soil, and with every step, he could hear the murmur of a nearby river, as if the land itself guided his steps. Raoul could hardly believe his eyes. Everything seemed real, yet it was unlike anything he had known. He whispered to himself, "Am I dreaming, or is this real?" Lena smiled as if reading his thoughts. "Everything you see is real, but nothing here is as it seems. Ziruova tests all who dare enter." As time passed, Raoul noticed strange movements in the shadows. They moved without reason, sometimes almost swallowing him, sometimes following his steps from afar. But he learned not to fear, for fear gives the shadows power here. After hours of walking, they arrived at a vast valley, surrounded by mountains glowing with an inner light, and a river stretching as if connecting the earth to the sky. Here Lena felt the need to stop. She sat on a large rock and said, "Your first trial begins here, Raoul. The choices are yours, and whatever you do, you must be honest with yourself." Raoul sat by the river, gazing at his reflection. Suddenly, visions from the past appeared. His childhood, decisions he had been too afraid to make, moments of weakness he had tried to forget. Tears welled up in his eyes. He whispered, "Why is this happening to me?" Lena spoke gently, "To know who you truly are. Ziruova does not only test the body, it tests the soul. To become stronger, you must confront everything you fear." As dusk approached, Raoul noticed the colors around him changing. The trees brightened, the shadows calmed, and the river reflected golden hues. For the first time, he felt a glimmer of hope, realizing he was on the right path. When night fell, they set up a small camp by the river. They lit a small fire, and Raoul began recording everything he saw and felt in his notebook. He knew this journey would not be easy, but it was one that would change him forever. Chapter 3. The Struggle of Shadows. As the journey continued, Raoul felt the atmosphere shift. The trees that once swayed gently now towered like colossal sentinels, with interwoven branches, almost closing the sky above. Shadows began moving oddly, some approaching him from afar, others writhing across the ground for no reason. Lena stopped and said, "Now begins the shadow trial, Raoul. You must face your fears without fleeing." Suddenly, voices echoed around him, whispers of his name, words from the past, screams he had not heard in years. Everything Raoul had tried to forget, every fear buried deep within him, began to emerge. A mysterious man in a black cloak appeared. His face was unclear, yet he represented all of Raoul's doubts and failures. In a calm yet terrifying voice, he said, "All who enter Ziruova must first face themselves. Are you ready?" Raoul felt a moment of panic, but he summoned his courage. "Yes, I am ready." The ground shifted around him, trees tilted as if watching, and shadows multiplied. Every step seemed to reflect his inner fears, guilt, weakness before friends, decisions he had never dared to make. Lena said, "Every experience here reveals a part of you. If you can overcome the shadow, you will be stronger than ever." Raoul took a deep breath and began confronting every memory and hidden moment of weakness. With each confrontation, the shadows gradually faded, and he felt for the first time freedom. At the end of the day, he sat on a rock by the river, looking at his reflection. His heart felt lighter, and understanding himself no longer seemed like a distant dream. Chapter 4. The Inner Trial. After completing the shadow trial, Raoul entered the deep forest where everything seemed alive. Trees swayed as if breathing, and colors shifted with each step he took. The massive, twisted trees whispered to him, and the air carried a strange mixture of wildflowers and damp earth. Lena said, "The true trial, Raoul, is not what you see with your eyes, but what lies within your heart." Raoul began to see vivid visions of his past, childhood in city alleys, moments of weakness before friends and family, decisions never made, and dreams left unfulfilled. Each memory appeared as a living entity, speaking to him, whispering his name, challenging him to confront himself. A shadow representing all his failures appeared. Mistakes, bad choices, and those he had let down. The shadow was silent, but watched him with accusing eyes. Raoul lifted his head, voice trembling but firm. I have erred, but I am learning now. I will not run away anymore. I will face everything and learn from my mistakes. With each word, the shadow began to vanish. The trees lightened and the river reflected vibrant colors, carrying a sense of peace he hadn't felt in years. Raoul felt liberated, as if his heart had grown lighter, and the land itself smiled upon him. He realized for the first time that confronting oneself was the true path to strength. Chapter 5. The Final Confrontation. At the heart of Ziruova, Raoul reached the sacred land, where mountains glowed and the sky shimmered in colors from gold to violet, and the river stretched endlessly. Here the great shadow appeared, a manifestation of all his fears, secrets, and guilt. Lena said, Now, Raoul, control everything around you or free yourself from your inner chains. Choose wisely. The shadow attacked him with vision from the past, every painful memory, every moment of helplessness. Raoul took a deep breath and faced the shadow. I have erred, but I am learning. I will not let the past control me. I am free, and I command myself. With each word, the shadow crumbled. The ground trembled, trees glowed, and the sky shifted through shades of gold, blue, and purple. Liberation filled the land, as if Ziruova herself celebrated his inner victory. Lena smiled. You have done it, Raoul. True courage lies in facing yourself, not the outside world. Raoul felt he had gained true strength, not through controlling others, but through understanding himself, confronting his fears, and freeing himself. Chapter 6. Return and Lessons Learned. After the final trial, Raoul returned to the real world, but everything seemed different. The city appeared clearer. The sounds, the smells, the light, and every event held deeper meaning. He received a final message from Lena. Ziruova is not the end, but the true beginning for those who have courage. The real adventure starts within you. Raoul smiled, realizing that the journey in Ziruova had not ended. It had begun a new journey, understanding himself, facing life bravely, and discovering the true power within. In the following months, Raoul grew more aware. He made decisions with greater confidence, without fear of failure. He helped others with courage and calm. He no longer feared confronting the truth, no matter how difficult. Even in his dreams, he saw Ziruova, rivers, trees, glowing mountains, as if constantly reminding him that the real journey begins within, and every confrontation with oneself leads to freedom and inner peace. In the end, Raoul realized that Ziruova was not just a strange land, but a mirror of the soul, an unforgettable lesson about courage, honesty, and liberation from inner chains.